My husband's nephews have no parents to turn to because his sister passed away, and my husband is ecstatic about adopting them, but I raised 7 children growing up, have never wanted kids, and told him we would divorce if he went through with this. My husband, 32M, and I, 28F, have been married for 2 years and together for 5. Until now, I would have said that we had the perfect relationship, but right now it seems like that's over and I'm not sure who the eyes, if anyone. I grew up in a really bad abusive and neglectful situation. I've been to therapy and to work, but there are still some issues that are just going to be permanent, I think. The two relevant here are that I need to have a calm, safe living space that is mine to function, and I do not do well around children. I don't hate children, but I was forced into raising 7 siblings and step-siblings when I was still a kid myself, and I will never be responsible for another kid for as long as I live. I've had my tubes removed to make absolutely sure there will never be an oops. My husband has known this since the beginning and also does not want children. His family situation is also not great, but he's still involved with them mostly for his mom and nephew's sake. About a month ago, Sil was off by her ex, who offed himself as well. The boys were visiting Mill, so thankfully they weren't in the house when it happened, otherwise I think they would be gone too. It's horrific. Mill, the boys, and my husband are devastated. Sil was not my favorite person in the world. She had a lot of the same traits my abusers had, but nobody deserves that, and I'm trying to be supportive of their grief. The problem is that there's nowhere for the boys to go. They were staying with Mill, but her health is so poor that DHR decided that she's not stable enough to have custody. Their father's family doesn't have anything to do with them, which is a long story by itself. My husband has a younger brother, but he has substance use issues and isn't in a good place to take on 2 kids. That leaves my husband and me as the only real family placement option. My husband isn't thrilled about bringing kids into the situation, but he feels like he has to keep them out of foster care, which I understand. Here's the problem. I absolutely do not want these kids living under the same roof as me. It's a PTSD trigger, but also they are understandably for their situation not the best behaved kids to start with. Add some hella trauma onto that and those kids are going to need a lot of help. My husband swears that he will do everything for them, but I think he's being unrealistic. We got into a really nasty argument about it, and he said that this is a make or break moment for the marriage because he's not backing down and he'll take the kids and divorce me if he has to. Our house was mine before we got married. I inherited it from my grandmother. I insisted on a prenup to protect it when we got married. My husband has a health issue that makes full-time work difficult, and he struggled at the best of times before we got married. If we split up, his chances of finding an affordable place to live nearby in the current market are not good. He's not quite disabled enough to receive disability. Frankly, if I and the house weren't part of the bargain, I'm not sure that DHR would place the kids with him. Where I might be the eye is that after he threw the D word at me, I told him that in that case he would need to move out of my house because he would no longer be welcome, go back to working full-time because I wouldn't be bankrolling an ex, and good luck taking care of 2 traumatized kids with his health, much lower income, and without a stable housing. I think it hadn't occurred to him just how much he would lose access to, because we've always just shared without thinking about it. He's not speaking to me right now, and Mill called and read me the riot act for financial abuse and abandoning family. I feel for the nephews, I really do, but I am not the person those kids need right now, and I feel like I was really clear from the very beginning that I would never be okay taking care of kids or living with them. I think we're cooked either way at this point, but Ida? Edit, there are a lot of responses and I'm trying to get to them all. I'm taking a PTO day to deal with some of this stuff and get myself back together. As a lot of you have said, there's no way back from this, and I think I'm going to go ahead and accept that now instead of dragging it out. The trust is gone. I made an appointment with a lawyer this morning, and from what I've read, an uncontested divorce could go pretty quickly and smoothly if we don't squabble over money. I don't have any interest in screwing him over, but I also won't be screwed over. I hate it. I wish this wasn't happening, but I've worked way too hard for a stable life to flush it down the toilet. I'm going to freeze my credit and lock down the accounts today in case he or Mill get ideas, and have the talk tonight. I'm also about to call the case manager contact at DHR and explain the situation so it's on record and they can start making a plan that doesn't include me as a part of the equation. I'm debating how much help I'm going to continue providing. I will continue to help my husband while he lives here, but I was also doing a lot to help out Mill with things her health makes difficult and to allow her to put her energy towards the kids right now, and I think that's going to stop since it's not appreciated and the relationship is over. As far as the whole looking after family thing, I don't believe in family. Family has done more harm to me than anything else in this world and provided not a single benefit, so I don't put any value on blood or relations. I do what I can when I can for others, but I know in the same circumstance, none of these people would help me, either because they can't or they just wouldn't care that much. So just spare me the whole day or your family stuff, please. That word doesn't hit the same way for me that it does for you. I will update once I've talked to my husband and figured out a path forward. Thanks for the input, even if some of you think I'm a monster. At 2, well, that was a rough night. TLDR, now he doesn't want a divorce and wants to figure something out. Of course. The stress of the whole situation is pushing him into a flare, so I'm giving him some grace, but I told him that we won't go back to exactly the way things were before the D word now, no matter what happens. I don't trust him. He needs to sit down with a social worker, look at the facts, and make a call on his own. I have the lawyer's recommendations for an amicable divorce filing we can discuss if he decides on that route. His mom said some unforgivable things in her little tirade, so the things I was doing to help her stop. Whatever happens, I will make sure he has health insurance until he can make other arrangements. I would be willing to discuss all of this in counseling with him while we try to sort it out, but for now, one of us is moving into the spare room or he can go stay with his mom. He's upset, but agreed. It's probably going to take some time to get a resolution, but I will try to post again down the road once the situation settles out. Update, 2 weeks later. People have been asking me for an update, and there were some forward developments before Thanksgiving. The bad news is that DHR decided my SO's medical situation rules him out as a primary guardian for the kids. He wouldn't be able to adequately care for them during a flare. Same for his mom, they have the same condition. His is worse than hers, but hers is more advanced. The good news is that the social worker talked the paternal relatives into agreeing to a DNA test. They didn't believe that the kids were really murderous Oz bio children, and he and Sil were keeping the situation on the down low because he was married, so they never established legal paternity. DNA was a match, so the grandparents on that side are taking the kids. What that means as far as visitation for my So and Mill is still being hashed out, but the whole thing has been de-escalated a lot thanks to a really competent case manager. As far as the divorce, I'm going ahead with it and filing this week. He's moved back in with his mom. They're salty about it, but that's to be expected. I still love him and wish him the best, but I'm done. His family is too much drama and I don't trust him the way that I did before this. Given that we were only married 2 years and the house is mine from before the marriage and protected, it should be a clean break. While I miss him being here, I'm already feeling less stressed with him gone, and I didn't realize that had been creeping up on me for a while. I think I'm done with romantic relationships, at least for a good long while, so I'm going to focus on my career and some fun stuff I haven't had time to do since taking on a caretaker role. Thank you to those that offered support and advice. It sucks that any of this happened to begin with, but I think it's ending about as well as it could have at this point. I will be dropping contact with my ex's family, so I doubt I'll have anything else to update. Commenter. NTA. The whole thing sucks and is very sad. You knew your limitations and made them clear to others. You can't be expected to move out of your own house. Could your husband move in with Mill? Would her insurance cover some home care or compensate your husband for her care? OP, this is the only real solution. Husband moves in with Mill and the boys. Her home is safe or they wouldn't have been placed there. Op's home is Op's alone, and this marriage was over the minute he tried to force Op. Stick to the prenup and start the paperwork. The kids will get survivor's benefit/family foster to help cover the costs of raising them, and husband will need to find a kind of appropriate work. But that is his concern, not Op's now.